Good evening and welcome to our first ever virtual leaders meeting on behalf of the Old Hickory Council for Raven Knob Scout Reservation Summer Camp for 2015. I'm Evan Lineberger and I'll be your technical coordinator for this event. The first thing I want to let you know is that this is a live Q&A event. This will give you the opportunity to submit questions to us live that we will answer in due time. Our camp director will be shortly explaining the leader's guide and the registration guide to help our leaders prepare for camp. What we also ask for your patience with is in technical difficulties that we may experience. The best preparation effort has been made. We may come across unanticipated problems, so please be patient. Also, you can submit questions in one of two ways. If you're watching on Google Plus, you can view us. You can submit questions using the Q&A app. Myself and our registrar Adam Moore will be monitoring. You can also submit questions via email at office@ravennob.com. Again, that email address for questions on anything that you may have questions about is office@ravennob.com. With that, I'll hand it over to our camp director, Keith Bobbitt, who will guide you through the rest of our evening.
Thank you, Evan. I appreciate your help with this. Good evening, folks, and welcome to our virtual leaders meeting at Camp Raven Knob. We'll start off with our leader's guide. We are looking forward to having each and every one of you at camp this summer, along with your troops and the scouts that you'll bring to the camp. We have a lot of information in the booklet. Hopefully you've already taken time to read through this, and if you have questions, as Evan has noted, please submit them to us and we will answer them before this session is over. Please do that periodically as we go from one section of the booklet to the next. We'll start off with the booklet in the first 2 or 3 pages. Page 5 we'll go to has the leaders' fees, the camp fees, and talks about reservations at the camp. The ongoing process of getting boys registered is well underway. At this point, we have over 1,000 boys who have registered for the summer that have come in through their unit camps. As this works, we have scouts paying their fees of the first fee of $100 per scout. On page 6, it talks about provisional scouts and day campers. A provisional scout is a boy that wants to come back to camp for a second week or wants to attend camp during a week when his troop is not able to attend. This works out very well for boys from in the council and out of the council, and we'll be glad to accommodate them. The provisional scout and day camper application is posted online at ravennob.com. Send that to us only through the mail. There's not a way to do that on the internet, but send that to us with the payment, and we'll get back with you a confirmation of your scout schedule. The campsite reservation, at this point, all the troops have registered with that initial $100. A lot of troops roll that over year after year, and we've got that there, so we will use that as part of your initial registration fee, and you can roll that over for the next year if you choose to do so. The refund policy is explained on page 7. There is also on page 7 a listing of the campsites at Raven Knob. There are 36 campsites in the camp, and you'll see there are a minimum and maximum number that we generally have tents available for in the given campsite. Most of our campsites are tent sites. We do have several, though, that are Adirondack sites. And most of you know those. There are pictures on the website that show you what the campsites actually look like. New this year, we've got an icon there of a little lightning bolt that shows you where we have electricity in the sites. We've added electricity to all of the campsites along Ridge Road, from Wyatt Earp and Davy Crockett out to Sequoia and Cochise. There is power available at the picnic shelter as well as overhead lights. Hopefully in the next few years we'll extend power to each of the other campsites throughout the camp. Let's move on over now to page 8 and 9. You'll see more about the registration process. The unit count is what is due by April 1st. You can do that online at ravennob.com, or you can submit it through the mail or bring it by the scout office, whichever is convenient for you. The next step is the registration and final payment. That's step 2. When we do that, you'll have the opportunity to register your scouts and start putting in sessions. Some troops have already moved to that point and are entering schedules each day. Every few hours, there's a few more boys that are added in and their schedules. We'd like to have all of that in by June 1st. That gives us the opportunity to work with the schedules and get your boys squared away. We do this on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you submit the boy's schedules and his fees, that will work towards guaranteeing him the slot that he wants for the summer. Additional paperwork, we talk about that there. If you have a scout that changes his sessions or changes weeks or is not going to make it to camp, there are steps that you go through there, and we can do that at camp, or we can do that through the email system. There again, going back to office@ravennob.com with your updates. Step 4 is actually when you arrive at camp. We'll be ready for you all the way through when you come through the gates at camp. We'll have your troop guide there. We'll have a packet of information for you. We'll have schedules for each of your boys. We'll have all this ready for you. The more you can help us on the front end, the absolutely more expedient we'll be once you come into the camp. So help us with that, and we'll be glad to help you. At the bottom of page 9, it talks about the express check-in. If you can work through those steps, when you come by the administration building, you'll pick up your troop guide and a packet of materials. You won't even need to come through the administration building. It also talks about age, maturity, and skill level. Please help us there with scouts that are trying to be overachievers. Let them enjoy some other merit badges instead of being in the Trail to Eagle program all week or taking on all Eagle Scout badges when they're just 12 years old. Let these boys experience some other skills, activities, make new friends, and we leave a lot of that to your judgment. There are merit badges that have age requirements. We generally hold those if they turn a certain age during the period of summer camp. So if you've got a boy that is taking a session that requires him to be 14, and he'll be 14 in late July, but you're still there in early July or late June, that'll be fine. We'll go with your assistance on that and your approval of the scouts' maturity. We would also ask that you make sure that we have scouts taking merit badges that they've not had before. We like to have new scouts in all those sessions. It's not really fair to have boys that have taken rifle shooting or small boat sailing 3 times before to keep repeating that just for the adventure. If we have slots available, that's fine, but we'll hold those till the end. On page 10, we talk about medical forms and insurance. The medical forms that we have online and that you can find at the scouting.org website are current medical forms, and every scout and every adult will need to have one of those. That is an annual medical form. So please help us by getting those processed and turned in as soon as you can. The VSA medication policy is discussed there. We have a system in place at our health lodge, which is a state-of-the-art facility to handle medication and its dispersal to the scouts. There are some medications that you may choose as a leader to keep in the campsite for your scouts that you're okay with administering there. Each campsite does have a lock box. Bring a padlock if you'd like to use that, so you can keep the medications locked up there in the campsite. The express check-in helps out there for the health lodge. If you want to send us a copy of the medical forms in advance, that's great. By all means, send a copy, not the originals, and our health office team will review those and have those processed before you get to camp and be ready with any questions we've got about a particular scout's injuries or ailments. Going over to page 11, the Order of the Air is discussed there. Our Order of the Air program through Wahissa Lodge is one of the most active you'll see anywhere in the country. Units from inside the council and outside the council take part in our programs, and particularly our Wednesday night campfire. We have a great opportunity for those scouts to get involved. We also have a brotherhood ceremony for Wahissa Lodge members who are ordeal to take their brotherhood over the course of summer camp. They'll have the questioning, and there's no cost for that, as they've already taken care of that with their initial ordeal fees. Moving down to packing and what to bring, most of your scouts have been to camps before, but there is a personal equipment list of things that they need to have. That personal equipment list is pretty standard at Raven Knob. You know, we would like for the boys to have good shoes. Our terrain is up and down in many places, so having good shoes that they can wear throughout the week, and by all means a spare pair, goes a long way there. Closed-toed shoes are absolutely a necessity to keep their feet safe while they're walking the trails. Unit equipment, of course, unit flags, first aid kits, lanterns, rope, bow saws, those type things come in handy over the course of the week. As far as what not to bring, we would ask that boys do not bring their own firearms or their own archery equipment to camp. We'll furnish those for them. Same goes for climbing equipment. We also don't allow boys to bring pets to camp. Leave the pets at home, please. Okay? Finally, we would like to make sure that boys would also leave their high-dollar electronics at home. Camp is a wilderness setting. There's not a lot of places to charge equipment nor to secure equipment when it's not in use. So we'd like for you to ask those boys to leave their high-dollar electronics at home. The camp is not responsible for equipment that is lost or misplaced or is damaged while they're at camp. There are several tips that are posted there that we'd like for you to take note of. As you go through that, if you've got boys using cell phones, they need to talk to the parents. That is one thing, but they need to really focus on being a camper and enjoying the outdoors that we have there at Raven Knob. Transportation is discussed, and parking. We'd like for you to make sure, first off, that we follow all the BSA guidelines for safety, be that in a 15-passenger van or a pickup truck, or in a church bus or a tour bus that you may have. Follow our helpful guidelines here, and you'll have a much safer trip. We do have an arrangement if you're coming to camp in a tour bus. We have a parking lot at our maintenance center as you approach the camp to turn those tour buses into, and we'll offload equipment there so the buses do not have to go down into the main camp. School buses and passenger vehicles, personal vehicles, are good to go into the camp and offload equipment. There are designated parking areas in the camp, some right at the front entrance and others at various campsites. Once you get unloaded and parked in a designated place, we'll ask that you leave your vehicle there for the week. If you need assistance in transportation, if you have a scout or a leader that has an infirmity that they need assistance, we have several golf carts that are available, and leaders will drive those and help transport boys to and from various program areas or to the dining hall. You can make arrangements for that through our administrative services at the administration building. On safety, we have several things there to take note of. In case of an accident or emergency, we try to follow all the guidelines there. First off, of course, to make sure that the scout receives whatever treatment is necessary. We work very closely with Northern Hospital of Surry County and the Emergency Medical Services of Surry County. They have been most helpful over the years in helping us to get through the programs that we have in a safe and orderly fashion. The paperwork that you will forward to us will have a copy of your troop insurance card or information that you may have. A lot of troops and councils have the health special risk card that provides with them that information that in case a scout has an injury, the HSR policy would be available to them. We ask also on the boys' individual medical form that they have a copy of the family's medical information there, be that Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare or Metropolitan or Medicaid, whatever it may be. Have a copy of that card included with each boy's medical form. Okay? Do we have some questions we need to review?
Yes. So we have several questions that came up concerning information you've gone over. You mentioned Wednesday night ceremonies. One of our questions was, what time can families begin to come into camp on Wednesday nights? Where can they park? And when will the campfire be finished? So I guess just some of the logistics of handling Wednesday night ceremonies on family night.
Very good. Looking at the Wednesday night campfire, that's a busy time in camp. Scouts will finish their instruction sessions around 5 p.m. We normally have folks starting to come into camp between 5 and 6 p.m. The dining hall operation will have food brought to campsites that need that. A lot of troops bring in family picnics, if you will, to their given sites. So I would plan to have dinner at 6. Families are welcome to come in after 5 p.m. As they come in, there is parking down through the center part of camp. Some folks will ease on to campsites. There are several fields and parking around some of the main structures in camp so that they can be out of the way. We'd ask to make sure that when they do park that they do not block any roadways. Campfire will usually be over around 9:30 p.m. and once the boys have cleared the roads, we'll open that up for traffic to exit the camp.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Keith. We have another question from Ms. Allison Pelfrey. She asks, I have two leaders coming to camp that will need to loan a golf cart during the week. Who do I contact to arrange this?
Right. If you need to have a golf cart services, we have some golf carts that are for general use of folks during the week. If you need to have a golf cart rented just for 2 people, you'll need to send us an email at office@ravennob.com, and we can help arrange the rental of a golf cart. The cost of those is $300 a week if you need to rent one specifically for your troop for the week.
Awesome. Also, going along, you had mentioned the Order of the Arrow. We know that that's a very large part of what we do here at camp. Let's see if I can find that question real quick. So here it is. What if we are an out-of troop? Can our boys still get tapped into the Order of the Arrow?
Yes, we'll be more than happy to publicly recognize your boys in our tap-out ceremony, which is one of the best that I've ever seen in any Boy Scout camp. To do that, you'll need to have a letter from your lodge chief, your lodge advisor, or your lodge staff advisor giving our lodge permission to tap the scouts from your troop. You can request that letter for them and bring it with you to camp when you come in on Sunday afternoon.
Very cool. Thank you so much. And then one more along those lines. I'm from a different lodge. Can I get my brotherhood at Raven Knob?
We'd love to accommodate you there. However, national policy says that we cannot do the brotherhood ceremony for scouts or scouters outside of Wahissa Lodge in our camp. You'll need to do that at home in your home lodge.
All right. Let's see. You had mentioned signing up for merit badges, and that was at the discretion of leaders if they were old enough. Is there a specific cutoff date for merit badges? Like if the requirement is that a scout be 14 years old, is that at the beginning of the summer or the end of the summer, or what's camp's policy on that?
The camp policy on that would be he would need to turn that specific age by the end of the summer, August the 8th. The one caveat to that would be for boys that are taking BSA lifeguard. By national policy, they cannot be included in the BSA lifeguard sessions unless they are at least 15 years of age. So a 14-year-old, even though he's in camp and he'll be 15 3 weeks later, he would need to be 15 to actually take BSA lifeguard.
Would it then be possible if he's eligible later in the summer to come during a different week of camp?
Be more than happy to have him come back and take it later in the summer, yes.
Is there a specific process for doing that?
They would use the provisional application and sign up to come back as a provisional scout and do the BSA lifeguard, which is an all-day, all-week program.
All right.
Part of that, too, which we'll get into in a few minutes, the BSA lifeguard includes American Red Cross Life Saving. So there's dual certification that they get in that program.
Okay. Let's see. Also, let's see. All right, two more questions, and I think we'll continue on and take questions for the next section. The first one would be, also from Ms. Pelfrey. It says, my unit is coming from out of council during week 2. Can we arrive at camp the night before, and if so, what is this procedure?
If you're traveling and you need to come into Raven Knob on the Saturday before your week's normal attendance, that's fine. If you'll send us an email the week before just to confirm what time you'll be arriving, we'll make sure to have staff members there to greet you and get you squared away in your campsite. There is no charge to stay on Saturday night. We do ask, though, that you provide your own food for Saturday evening and Sunday morning. Our first meal will be served Sunday evening at dinner. Should note there that Domino's does deliver, as does some of the other pizza places in Mount Airy. So take that into consideration. Mount Airy is just about 15 to 20 minutes away. It's not a bad drive.
To supplement what Keith said there, we found that, Adam, if you can confirm this with me, it's usually Pizza Hut, and they usually have a minimum order of $100.
Yeah, there's different pizza places that are around in Mount Airy, and each of them have different minimums, and sometimes that will vary from year to year. So it's always good to check up on that before you come into camp on Saturday, so you can be prepared to do what you need to do.
Fantastic. And then the final question before we let you get back to it, Keith. Let's see, is there a cutoff date of when they need to submit their health forms by?
We'd like to have if you're going to do the express health check, we'd like to have those forwarded to us through the mail 2 weeks before your troop arrives to give our staff time to process those.
Fantastic. So with that in mind, we should be good for now, and we will continue to take your questions here at office at ravennob.com and also on Google Plus if you're joining us in that regard. Keith, back to you.
Thank you very much, Evan. On page 13, there are some standard basic things there regarding safety, using fuels in camp with different stoves or lanterns, and equipment damages. All that's pretty much standard fare in the camp arena. We'll turn over to page 14, and on page 14 you'll see the highlights there of the program information, the merit badge program that we offer at Raven Knob. It is an extensive program with a lot of different offerings, so please take time, if you're new to the camp, to read through these a couple of times, make sure you understand how all this works. The icons there on page 14 will help you out tremendously, be it the 1-hour sessions or sessions that are recommended for all scouts or younger scouts or older scouts. You'll also note where there are requirements that are necessary and some of the activities that have minimums and maximums to participate. If you look over on page 15, we'll start there with the aquatics area. The aquatics area is a very popular area at camp. This summer we are looking forward to inaugurating our new diving dock, our swimming dock that we have built, as well as some swimming instruction shelters. They are under construction now and should be finished in the next couple of weeks. The dock itself is finished and the lake is filling up every day to get us up to full pool there. In looking at those, you'll see under BSA Lifeguard, it says BSA ARC, American Red Cross. That is an all-week program there for boys to participate in, and we have venture crew members that are there. We have adult leaders that take part in this. It is an extensive program. They will get a lot of training. There is an additional $45 fee that covers program materials from the Red Cross. When they leave and they have demonstrated all the proficiencies, passed all the exams that take place during the week, they will have those certifications as a BSA Lifeguard, American Red Cross Life Saving, and CPR. Canoeing is a popular activity at camp. Boys enjoy that. We have several canoes that they can take out and paddle around our beautiful lake. Free swim takes place each day for boys to enjoy just free play, if you will, or to work on their swimming merit badge instruction. Kayaking has become extremely popular. We've got over 30 kayaks that we use, and boys are in those kayaks constantly at camp. The mile swim, we have swim lanes on our new dock, and boys will practice in those and build their proficiency up over the course of the week. Then on Thursday, we'll actually do the mile swim there. We have leaders that volunteer to help row for that, and it's a great activity that historically has a lot of scouts involved in the mile swim program. On page 16, the rest of the merit badge offerings for aquatics are reviewed there. If you have a boy that signs up for swimming and he is not quite up to par with his swim check when he gets in the lake, we'll usually back him down to the beginner level until he shows that he's got the skills to move back into swimming merit badge. Our staff is great at that. They'll work with the boys and make sure those guys are safe and they've built the skills before they move forward. Snorkeling and paddle boarding is also a very popular activity. The paddle boards that we have are first class, and the kids enjoy moving around the lake on those. We've got some new snorkeling equipment on hand as well, and there's a couple of sailboats and canoes that are out in the lake that the kids can dive to. On page 17, the nature area is a popular area in camp with a number of merit badges that are provided there. In looking at that, the bird study, environmental science, which of course is Eagle required. Fishing is new to us this year, which we're looking forward to that at both of our lakes. We have 2 lakes at Raven Knob. Dual merit badges, we have several of those in camp. So a boy in that would earn fish and wildlife management as well as mammal study. Geology is popular, and we've got a good selection of different rocks for the boys to study and good instruction on that. You flip over to page 18 and 19, you'll see some more of the activities that we offer there at the nature area. Moving on to page 20, the Scoutcraft area. Scoutcraft will have a number of merit badges from archaeology to wilderness survival. There's a lot of activity. You'll have scouts learning basic skills and putting those on up to more advanced skills over the course of the week. Camping and cooking merit badge are popular. In fact, cooking last year was probably the most popular merit badge in the entire camp over the course of the summer. First aid, of course, always has a lot of scouts in it. Geocaching and orienteering are popular badges. It's a great skill. They learn that while using a GPS is great, you really need to have a compass to go along with it to really be on the mark. Pioneering is a basic merit badge for a lot of scouts to learn those skills, from doing eye splices and end splices to building towers and monkey bridges. Safety and wilderness survival are just great badges to pick up along the way. Safety has been around for many, many years. Wilderness survival is a basic skill that they will learn how to work in the out of doors with a minimum of equipment. Camping and wilderness survival will have an overnighter session that will take place on Thursday evenings. So the scouts do need to bring gear for that, so that they're ready to head out in the back country of Raven Knob on Thursday evenings. Emergency preparedness and search and rescue are a dual merit badge that will take place over the course of the week. All of our sessions there, when they are listed in the session as a 1 hour or 2 hour session, that's 2 hours of instruction each day for 5 days. It's not just a one time over the course of the week. They're there all 5 days. On page 22, the handicrafts area, we have a great handicrafts area there. Orville Sales, the director. We have art, basketry, Indian lore, leatherwork, metalwork is extremely popular. Movie making and photography are very popular as well. We've got a great team that works with that. Wood carving is Orville's specialty, and he is a master in that skill. Please note on the bottom of page 22, there is an advanced wood carving session each afternoon. We'll cover some more details on that in just a moment. On page 23, the shooting sports area is reviewed. Shooting sports is one of the highlights to a lot of boys over the course of the week. We have quality firearms that are in use at the camp. Over the last few years, scouts from the Old Hickory Council have ranked nationwide in their abilities with firearms, particularly with rifle and handgun. The Venture Crew pistol shooting is just for Venture Crew members. That's the only scouts that can use handguns at Raven Knob. They must be registered currently in a Venture Crew, and they must be at least 14 years of age. Archery and rifle shooting are popular as well. The rifle shooting, we have 16 boys on the line at a time, and another 16 backing them up. So it is a popular area. We have quality equipment and great instructors to help them there. In shotgun shooting, we use SKB shotguns, 20 gauge, and the scouts learn skills there on our teaching trap, and then we move them over to our pyramid wobble trap, which is one of the few pyramid wobble traps in the country on a scout camp. If you've got scouts in those sessions that have taken the badges before, as I noted earlier, please hold them back and let the other scouts that have not been in there take that opportunity first. On page 24, the high adventure programs are discussed there. We have a lot of things that we offer in the outback at Raven Knob. Raven Knob is comprised of some 3,200 acres, and it is set at the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. The temperatures are great. It'll get warm in the daytime, but it cools off at night. As you go through that, a lot of boys want to get further back into the mountain and discover some of the adventures that await them there. One of those activities is climbing. We have a first-class climbing tower built at camp. It has a deck at 57 feet. It has 8 climbing walls, and we can accommodate 16 boys at a time on there if it's going full tilt. It is a great adventure. We can also have indoor climbing when it's raining. The tower has lights on it, so we can wrap up sessions in the evening. It's just a great facility. When the boys finish climbing at the tower, we will transport them down to Pilot Mountain State Park, where they can climb there on natural rock. Mountain biking is also popular with all the trails, single track and double track, across Camp Raven Knob. We ask that boys do bring their own mountain bikes and helmets when possible. We do have a few on hand at camp as needed for boys to utilize. The Cripple Creek program is the area in the back part of the camp where we do our mountain biking program. Excuse me, our Mountain Man program. The Mountain Man program is where boys will go and stay for a week's time, and they will cook their own meals. They'll live in period tents. We have a tremendous staff that works with them in building skills and doing activities that they've never seen before. Brett Butler is heading that up this year. He has a good team of guys with him and is really looking forward to making this a great summer for boys coming out to take part in the Mountain Man experience. By the end of the week, they will have practiced blacksmithing. They will have made a knife and a sheath. They will have cooked all their meals on open fires and worked in a system of carrying water to a cistern that we have. We have a hand pump. It's quite an adventure for these scouts to go out to the Mountain Man area. We also have a program for high adventure that we call the Wilderness Trek program, Wilderness Challenge program. The Wilderness Challenge is a series of days where the boys will do a combination of canoeing on whitewater up in Virginia on the New River and also backpacking on the Appalachian Trail. It's a combination activity. You'll see the gear list there. The director of that is Mac McCormick. Mac is a teacher with the ROTCs in Winston-Salem, but he's also retired from the military and special forces. He's an outstanding outdoorsman, and the scouts taking part in this last year just could not stop talking about what a great time they had with Mac and his team of guys out in the wilderness. Give that some thought. Talk to your older scouts. You know, a lot of boys have been to camps before 2 or 3 times, and they think they've done everything. But if they've not taken part in the Mountain Man program or the Wilderness Challenge program, they've got something really waiting for them right there. On the next page, on page 28, we talk about our Raven Scout program. Each summer we have over 1,000 scouts that take part in our Raven Scout program. This is a program designed for first-year scouts. There are numerous activities that they will do based on their age and the ranks that they're working on. And in that effort, the morning session of Raven Scouts is designed for that first-year scout who is working on his tenderfoot and second class. In that effort, they will work each morning on different skills that are listed there on page 29 that will be covered over the course of the week. As that works through, we really try to make sure the scouts retain those skills. You can help us with that by working with those boys when they come back to the campsite. Ask them what they covered. Let them show you that skill so that they can become more proficient at it. The Senior Raven program is set up in the afternoons from 2 to 4 for scouts that have already been in your troop for maybe a few months. They've already picked up some of those skills in second class and tenderfoot, and they're already moving ahead to first class. So the Senior Raven program focuses just on first class requirements. We would ask in most cases that boys do not take both, that they take one or the other, and then from that point they go take merit badges to fill in the rest of their day's activities. There is a list of equipment there that they need to bring if they're going to be participating in the Raven Scout program. By all means, the most essential of those would be the canteen or water bottle to make sure those boys stay hydrated while they're out hiking and doing activities. Moving on to page 29, we have an extensive Trail to Eagle program at Raven Knob where boys work on merit badges as they're finishing up Eagle. This includes citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the world, communications, personal management, personal fitness, and we also put salesmanship in there, even though it's not required for Eagle. In doing that, we would ask that you have boys take, if they're going to be in those merit badges, those older scouts, that they take one, no more than 2 of those merit badges so that they can take other merit badges around the camp. And that they should be prepared with other prerequisites for these badges. Those are noted there in the booklet, and you'll also find those on our webpage. A lot of these will have a workbook that the boys can work with as they fulfill information and work with our staff to work on these merit badges for their Eagle. Under technology, we started the technology program last year as really kind of a STEM initiative, and that was so well received. We have a great staff that works with that. Our digital technology area that used to be computers is our computer lab, and we've got a great instructor there that will work with the scouts and help them build basic computing skills as well as how to take apart a computer and put it back together again. SpaceX and astronomy are also offered, and on page 32 you'll see the rest of the offerings: aviation, engineering, welding, and new this year, automotive maintenance. We also have moved energy from the nature area over to the technology area. There is a combined merit badge of robotics and electronics. We've got first class Lego robotics kits that the boys work with, and they had a tremendous time last year building these kits over the course of the week and learning how to control them with a computer. On page 33, yeah, that's pretty much all the areas. I would note on page 33 before we move any further that the advanced wood carving is a session that's offered there for boys to take part in each afternoon from 4 to 5. It's noted there on page 33. Okay? Are there questions, Evan?
Yes, there are several. Let me see if I can get those pulled up for you real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Yes. From Miss Beth Cottle. This is coming back to a little bit of the registration stuff you covered earlier. It says, her question is, the registration guide says initial count is due 1st of April. You don't have a good count yet. Can there be an extension?
Yes, I'd rather you take another 7 to 15 days if necessary to have an accurate count. The more accurate the count, the better we'll be prepared for when your troop arrives.
Along those lines, is there a date by which you really need a rough count by?
I'd like to have that absolutely no later than April 15th.
Very good. Let's see. From Ms. Pelfrey, I have one scout wishing to take the Mountain Man program. Are there any special considerations for this program? And along those lines, could you elaborate a little bit more on what merit badges will be completed at the Mountain Man and Cripple Creek program?
At the Mountain Man program, they'll work on several merit badges, including leather work, rifle by way of muzzle loader. They will also work on metal work, first aid, and cooking while they're in that area.
Okay. Are there any special considerations for that program? Is there any prerequisites, if you will?
Not really. We'd ask that the boys be mature. It would be great if they did have some cooking background and outdoor cooking, because they will be preparing their own meals over the course of the week. So if they've got some basic skills, that would be great, but we'll certainly help them become more proficient.
Fantastic. You move right along.
Leaders are welcome to attend in both those programs.
Could you say that again, please?
Leaders are welcome to take part in the Mountain Men program as well as the Wilderness Challenge program.
Is there an extra fee associated with leaders taking part above the normal camp fees for leaders?
No, there's no extra fee. Just glad to have them.
Fantastic. Let's see. Moving on to our shooting sports area, could you elaborate on the supervision of the shooting sports area, and is it safe?
Sure. At each area, we have adults there, several adults in each program, to make sure that those programs are administered in a safe and orderly fashion. All of the adults are certified nationally and have several years of experience, particularly rifle and shotgun and handgun. Each of those folks have attended national camp school to receive their credentials and are certified as a shooting sports range officer as well as an NRA instructor.
Fantastic. Another question is, if I'm not in a venture crew, can I still pistol shoot, such as not during the class? Is this a camp or national policy?
It is a national policy at this point that they must be in a venture crew to shoot handguns, and unfortunately we have to work with that. It is national policy, not unfortunate. It's just the way it is at this point in the BSA regulations. So they would have to be a member of a venture crew before they can shoot a handgun.
Is there any paperwork associated with that, or any proof that the administration team will require?
Yes, there is paperwork which we'll review in the registration packet that will need to be signed off on. One, giving the scouts permission to participate in all the shooting sports programs, and another separate form for venturers that are taking place or that are taking part in the handgun shooting program.
All right. Let's see what else we have here. I guess this goes along the lines of the fishing merit badge. What is fishing like at Raven Knob, and do I need a fishing permit?
Fishing is a popular activity at camp. We will actually issue a Raven Knob fishing permit. You do not need to have one from the state of North Carolina to fish at Raven Knob.
Fantastic. Adam, do you have anything else?
I don't believe so at this point.
All right. Well, we'll continue on with Keith. We also will remind you that you can ask questions to us live at our email at office@ravennob.com, as well as if you're watching on Google+, you can ask through the Q&A app. We'll be monitoring those for any of your questions you may have. And Keith, back to you.
Thank you, Evan. Folks, we're on page 33 of the Leader's Guide, just reviewing some of the basic twilight activities that are offered at camp. I mentioned the advanced wood carving, which is a 4 to 5 activity. In the evenings, we have low ropes available on our coat course, and we've got instructors that will work with you at the low ropes program. The knob hike is a quintessential Raven Knob activity. Almost every scout that comes to the camp hikes it at least once, some 5 or 6 times. Troops can do that as a troop activity. Scouts in the Raven Scout program will go up there as a group in the Raven Scouts area. If you need assistance with that, we'll be glad to have our staff join you and help lead that hike. The Raven Scout Round Robin is a new activity for us this year, where we're going to try to spend Monday evenings in the Raven Scout area and invite Raven Scouts to come down, meet the staff, spend some more time with them, work with leaders, and build some skills and help get them into the general spirit of scouting as a whole. We look forward to this campfire activity just with Raven Scouts on Monday evening. Free swimming and free boating are always popular activities in the evenings and in the afternoons for boys to go down and enjoy the lake. It's a great way to cool off after the day and to get to meet some more friends at camp. We have a disc golf program at camp. We'll have an 18-hole disc golf course at Raven Knob for scouts and leaders to participate in. It's out through the wilderness area of the camp. It's not a far walk, but it's mostly an enjoyable walk where you can test your skills on our course and get to see some of the beautiful countryside. If your troop has boys that need help with totem chip, be that in sharpening an axe or how to split wood, our Raven Scout staff will be glad to come and assist you with that and getting those scouts those basic skills and spend some more time with them. We can do that in our area, or we can come to your campsite for that activity. There are other activities over the course of the week that take place, and we have staff that will work with some of those. Others are troops that are working back and forth with each other. So take the opportunity, enjoy camp. There's a lot that happens at Raven Knob. Let's move to page 34. We also, that's just for leaders. We also have training that's available over the course of the week. Some of that is just a brief training. Some of this takes all week to complete. The climbing instructor certification is there for boys, for leaders to take part in over the course of the week. Miranda Miller is our climbing director, and she'll work with that on every front to make sure that we have leaders that build those skills, have the knowledge to be able to take scouts out on a climb. The Climb On Safely program is the briefing on what takes place and just get some basic skills. But the lead instructor climbing that takes place with climbing instructor is much more intense. We offer CPR each week for adult leaders, as well as new leaders essentials and outdoor leader skills. Leaders can take all of those activities over the course of the week to get their BSA certification squared away. Our aquatic staff has safe swim defense and safety afloat, as well as aquatic supervision. Those activities, those training sessions are held on Mondays each week in camp. BSA lifeguard is mentioned again there on page 35, as that is open for adults to take part in. And we have a number of folks that do that. It's a great skill set to have if your troop is active in canoeing trips or is planning to go down to sea base. Scoutmaster Merit Badge requirements are posted there. This is a great way for leaders to help the camp and to help troops, to help out in so many ways to make the camp run smoother. We usually have 150 leaders in camp each week, and we've got a staff of about 120, and that usually is a good number to work with the hundreds of scouts that we have going through the camp every week. So look that over, see what you'd like to get involved in, and come prepared for camp. The Just for Fun is mentioned there, the silver spoon and golden spatula. Our commissioner staff, and headed up by Noah Brewer, and our program director, Hunter Day, will be glad to help you with the Dutch oven cook-off that we do in camp. So bring your special recipes and the ingredients, and we'll get ready for a little Dutch oven cook-off each week down at the log cabin. On Thursdays, we'll have a unit leader luncheon. We do that in the training center at camp. We'll have a nice meal for you, and we usually have one leader from each troop come to that, so we can spend some time and tell you about what's happening at camp in the future and what we're planning for. And it's a great time to just socialize and relax a little bit and tell us a little bit about your week at camp. Advancement is mentioned there. We have a lot of folks with different skills that come to camp. If you'd like to help us with a merit badge, one that we offer or maybe one that we don't, we'd be glad to have you jump in and give us some assistance. Let us know what those are in advance, and we'll try to have you lined up with an area director and a time slot so that you can help us help our scouts while they're at camp. At the bottom of page 35, it talks about service. If you're an electrician, a carpenter, a mechanic, or a plumber, welder, whatever those skills may be, bring your tools. Dave, our camp ranger, and Jeff, they always have things that we need assistance with in camp. The plumbing projects seem to never end, nor do the mechanical problems. So if you want to jump on board with that, bring your tools and don't be bashful. On page 36, we have kind of a breakout of how the first day at camp will go for you. It talks about the check-in, unit photographs that we will do down at the program center as you get ready for your health checks. There'll be a camp tour that's led by one of our staff members for each of your troops. Even though your troop may have been to camp before and you kind of know the layout, don't let your boys miss that opportunity to do a camp tour. They need to be able to go through the dining hall and see how the waiter system works. They need to be able to go down to the aquatics, even if they've had a swim check, and hear how the aquatics area works for them when they come down to take a merit badge. We will do swim checks there for boys that haven't had them in advance, and the quartermaster will be open to get out equipment that you need for your campsite. The quartermaster has a shed that is beside of the dining hall that will be open each day after meals for you to pick up necessary equipment to take back to your campsite. Leaders meetings will be held each day in camp. We'll start off Sunday evening after Vespers with an extensive leaders meeting in the chapel right after Vespers. It'll be finished before campfire. That is open to your senior patrol leaders and your scoutmasters to come to that meeting. One of the things that we offer at Raven Knob is the Raven Knob Passport. This is a brochure, if you will, that we give to each boy. So when you have a scout coming in and he's got his schedule and you think he needs to have a little help with this or that, you can hand him this Raven Knob Passport, and it'll actually have his name and his daily schedule listed there. It'll also have a map that shows where all the different instruction sessions are offered at Raven Knob. Having that passport in his hand, he'll be ready to tackle the camp on Monday morning. On page 38, the week at a glance has our schedule. It talks about tonnage, uniforming, the dining hall. Our dining hall is set up in a cafeteria style. We have 4 serving lines, and we can seat 1,000 people in just a very few minutes. It is a very efficient operation. If you can help us with that, just kind of follow in the lines where our staff members have you, and you'll be in and out of the dining hall before you know it. Raven Knob Grace we use at most of the meals at camp. We may use some others like the Philmont Grace, but by and large, Raven Knob Grace is used extensively. Each evening after meals, we have a Vesper service in our chapel, and we invite scouts to come down and take part of that. And we have a chaplain on camp staff that helps us with that. And it is a very meaningful part and a good way to kind of wind down the day. We have a great commissioner staff this year with Noah Brewer, Sawyer Langford, Doug Dobson, Alex Marvin, and Ryan Hollingsworth. I think I've covered most everybody there. It's a great team of guys with a lot of experience at Raven Knob. They'll be glad to help you each day in camp. We also have Chris Warner back as our Order of the Era commissioner, and he'll be building fires at the arena. He could use your help with that if you want to split some lumber. Come on down. The museum at Raven Knob is one of the best in the nation. Any scout camp around, I've never seen one as nice as what we have at Raven Knob. Ken Badgett and Orville Sale work with that, and please take the opportunity to schedule a time to take your boys down to the museum and look at the history of scouting. This year particularly being the 100th anniversary of the Order of the Arrow and the 60th anniversary of Camp Raven Knob. Moving on to page 40, you'll see the trading post schedule there. It talks about lost and found. We do have a Scoutmasters Lounge, hopefully with coffee in the pot when you get there. Fishing permits, we offer fishing permits each day, each Monday after lunch. For the boys there, there is no cost for those. Contacting the outside world there on page 41. We have a lot of communication there with be it the postal mail or emails. Phones are manned around the clock, and we try to make sure that everybody's safe and communication goes well. RavenKnob.com is the key source for information and updates that you'll see, and we post updates there on a regular basis throughout the spring. Visitors Night is on Wednesday nights, and we'd ask to, as I stated earlier, plan to attend that if you can. It's a great evening out. The camp will be open for visitors after 5 p.m., and you should be able to leave the camp between 9:30 and 10 to head home. On page 42, it covers some of the basics there. Services for leaders, telephones, wireless internet is available throughout most of the central part of camp. Each troop will be issued a pager So if we need to communicate with you, we will be able to use this alphanumeric pager to send messages to you to keep you on track of everything that's happening in camp. Or if there were to be an emergency, we've got a way to reach out to you immediately there. Okay? On page 43, it talks about the honor and merit troop. Pretty standard fare there. Page 44 is campsite inspection, which we will do each day. Your commissioner will come by and visit with you each morning. Page 45 is a map on how to get to camp on the large scale and the micro scale there. Get you right into Raven Knob. When you move over to the next page, we have our program registration codes. The program registration codes are set up in a 3-digit code, and there is some rhyme or reasoning to that. If you look at the first section there for aquatics, all of the 3s are going to be aquatics badges. All right. In that effort, we try to have it to where the first digit goes with the area, the second digit is the level of difficulty, and the third digit indicates the hour in which the instruction session begins. So look at that as you go through and kind of pace yourselves, pace the boys as to what they're taking. Also, when they're choosing sessions, be sure and look at a map and consider their walk time as they're going from nature back up to the handicrafts area and then to the dining hall, so that the boys are moving in a consistent flow in the camp and that they're not walking any more than they have to. There's a lot of walking at Raven Knob, and that's great and that's good, but if you've got a boy going from rifle to nature and then back to handicrafts, he's going to get a lot of walking in there. So kind of pace the boys' time frame there as they move through the day. But study over the offerings there. As you put boys into sessions, 90 to 95% of those boys are going to get what they ask for. May not be the time frame. We may have to juggle some schedule there, but 90 to 95% will get what merit badges they request to take at Raven Knob. The sooner we get those in, we do that on a first come, first served basis. So help us with that, and that's based on the final payment. Okay, first come, first served on the final payment. So if you can help us with that, that would be great. I should note too, when you make those payments, if you do that online, that's great. You can do it there with a credit card, or you can put in the information online, which helps us tremendously. And then you can mail a check to the Scout office if you'd like to do that. Either way is fine with us. If you bring by the paperwork and you do it all through snail mail, or you bring it by and drop it off at the office, that being their schedules, it'll take us a little longer to get those put in because we're having to go back then and do those on our end by hand. If you can do those on your end up front, that really is going to expedite getting your troop ready for camp. Okay? Any questions before we move to the registration guide?
Yes, we've got quite a few, it seems. Let's see. Regarding adult leaders stay at camp, I'll see if I can cover those. Those seem to come up a lot. We have a lot of adult leaders that come to camp, and they're not just at camp. They also have to get work done. Is there Wi-Fi available at camp? Is it reliable? And where is it located? And is there a pass key to it?
Okay. We have Wi-Fi in the Scoutmasters Lounge. We have it at the administration building, the training center, the trading post, and at the aquatics area. It's generally available in all of those areas as well as in the dining hall. It is during the daytime while the boys are in sessions, it is more reliable then than it is at nights. At nights, when the local community is on using the same service, the signal does drop and it's not quite as reliable. But during the daytime, it is very reliable.
Fantastic. Along those lines of outside communications, let's see if I can find it, select it. There it is. What services of cell phones work at camp? Should they expect reliable cell service?
Okay. Cell phones are just part of our lives anymore. You know, most of us don't go far without our handy cell phones. In the camp atmosphere, Carolina West is the local provider. It does very well at Raven Knob. and Verizon does very well. AT&T and Sprint, not so much. There are just a few little places at camp that you can stand and get a signal out with AT&T and Sprint. But Verizon and Carolina West are certainly your best choices.
I'll also note from my experience, T-Mobile, it seems, has the same problem as AT&T. They run on the same networks, so they don't seem to have reliable service either. At least
That's
not. So just to add that in there. Let's see, what else do we have in there? Will there be outdoor leadership skills training for leaders to attend camp?
Yes, we will have outdoor leader skills offered over the course of the week. Jeff Mosley, one of the camp rangers, will get that kicked off on Monday mornings, and that program is kind of self-administers. The leaders will have a tracking map, and they will go from program area to program area over the course of the week to get those different skills taken care of.
Fantastic. From Christopher Cleesby, can leaders take part in the mile swim, actually swim the mile, as long as they attend the Monday through Wednesday prep session?
Absolutely. Love for you too. Come on down.
All right. Also from Mr. Cleesby, for advanced swim checks for our scouts, the scouters who hold the BSA Aquatic Supervision training cards be accepted in lieu of having a BSA lifeguard certification?
Unfortunately not. They will have to have a BSA lifeguard or an American Red Cross lifeguard to conduct those swim checks.
All right. Let's see. If something were to happen to my scout and they needed medical attention, how is that handled?
If a scout receives an injury at camp, we have a great communication system in camp comprised of an in-camp telephone system and two-way radios. We'll find out what the injury is, get him attended to by our first aid staff from the health lodge, and we will contact the unit leader by way of one of the pagers that we will issue out to the troops to get the leader to come to the health lodge or wherever the boy may be. If they need further medical attention, we will contact the doctor, our camp doctor in Mount Airy, or emergency medical services to line that up to where we either transport the boy to the facility in Mount Airy, or we'll have the EMS come out to camp, which they are set up to do, to pick up the scout and take him into Mount Airy.
All right. Let's see. Is there a way to contact my scout while at camp? I think you touched on that. But what if I have a family emergency? How do I contact him?
One of the easiest way there will be to contact our office at 336-352-4307. Speak to someone on our administrative staff, and we will get in touch with that scoutmaster immediately.
All right. Let's see. What if I want to send my scout a package for his week at camp? When should I send it, and how should I address it?
Sure. If you'll be sure and just address it to the scout and then put his troop number on there, that would be most helpful. And then put the camp address, Camp Raven Knob, 266 Raven Knob Road, Mount Airy, North Carolina, 27030. Once those come into the administration building, we will deliver those to the troop at lunch each day.
All right. Let's see. How much money should my scout bring to camp?
You know, that varies here and there depending on the boy. Most boys bring $30 to $50 to spend in the trading post, and that goes back and forth. We try to have prices held down the best we can in our trading post. We do have snacks, we do have souvenirs, and we have program materials to help them with different sessions. It's a pretty good array of materials, and sometimes the scouts will leave some of that money with the scoutmaster so that they don't have all that with them at one time. Most troops have a system set up to accommodate that.
All right, let's see. Um, I'm only available to attend, I presume this is a leader, I'm only available to attend camp for part of the week. What is the procedure for that?
We have troops that have leaders that come in and out. We will prorate your fees based on the number of days that you're there, as well as the accommodations. We'll try to make sure we've got tonnage available for you, even though you're not there for the whole week.
All right. Let's see. What is the procedure for leaving camp, and also what is the procedure for leaving camp early if I have to leave Friday night?
We have a sign-in and sign-out book at the administration building, and we would ask if you are leaving camp, even if you're just going into Mount Airy to pick up something, that you sign in and sign out at the administration building so we can keep track of who's on deck and who's not.
All right. Let's see. What would happen to sections or campfire in case of inclement weather? I know that happens a lot during the summer.
All right. You know, in 2013 we had a lot of rain. Last summer it wasn't so bad. We are set up with most of our sessions to where we can move them under shelters, under permanent shelters or tarps to keep the boys out of the weather, and that works out very well for sessions. As far as campfires, we will try to have the campfires if at all possible, but we have a good weather system, and we can keep track on the radar of where these impending storms are, and if we see that it's imminent, that it's going to be raining, we will go ahead and cancel the campfire, be that Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday evening. If it looks like it's going to skirt around us and we can have the program, we will go ahead and start the program. Hopefully all that will go well. On the other hand, if it turns and the storm comes back towards us, we would at that point cancel the campfire and call it at that point, and folks can at that point leave camp. We would not move it from the OA arena to the dining hall.
Along those lines, what is the best way to find out if the campfire is canceled or not?
Contact the administration building.
Okay. Let's see. What happens if my scout is late to a session?
Well, we realize there's a fair amount of walking at camp, but our instructors will try to work with them. We ask that they do leave the campsite in time to get to the session, and most of the time they'll have adequate walk time, lead time to get to the session. If they're late consistently, our instructors, I'm sure, will try to rev them up and speak with the leaders and make sure that the boys aren't, stopping by the trading post and hanging out with everybody along the way, that they kind of move briskly to get on into the sessions.
All right. I guess I'll just supplement that as well. If for some reason they're chronically late, there is the administration staff provides a report on Monday and Tuesday only that outlines who was absent from sessions, so that adult leaders, if they know the scout was in the health lodge and they, of course, weren't at the session, they are free to ignore that, but that is a tool the administration team provides to help you ensure that scouts are, in fact, attending their sessions instead of just hanging out at the trading post.
Right. That attendance report is a great tool for the scoutmasters to receive.
Let's see. I guess along the lines of recreation, is there a map of the disc golf course, and where can I get it?
We'll have copies of that in the trading post where we have discs for sale, and we will also have copies of the map and the lay of the course out at the Kyle Johnson shelter, which is where hole number 1 tees off from.
Cool. Are there places throughout camp for my scouts to get water?
Yes, every program area has fresh water available, as well as every campsite has water available.
All right. Let's see. I think you addressed this, so I'll just reiterate it. It says, if I sign up my scouts for sessions, how likely is it that their schedule will be exactly the same when we arrive at camp? Keith, I think you answered that, but maybe give it another go.
Right. If you've got a change in sessions, you'll work with our administrative team, and they will put the changes in there, get the scout lined up for the session that he's chosen to take instead of whatever it was previously, and then we will update the master schedule that you will have, as well as the permanent records going out to our program areas, and then also that particular scout's Raven Knob passport.
All right. Let's see. Next question. What should happen if there's a conflict between scouts and different troops? What should I, as a leader, do?
You know, we try to get leaders to work together with the boys there, and certainly our staff will be glad to assist. That does happen occasionally, but overall it's pretty rare. We've got some great staff members, a lot of veteran staff members that are with us each year that can kind of head those off at the pass and make sure that everybody's okay. If there's a problem that needs to be straightened out, I'll be glad to intercede there and work with the troop and the troop leaders and the boys to make sure that it's resolved in a scouting manner.
Awesome. Let's see. I think the last one for now is if you could briefly go over, just real quickly to reiterate, the training opportunities that will be available to adult leaders while at camp.
Okay. As noted earlier, there are several sessions there that we make available for the leaders. Years ago, there were not near this many, but it has become very popular, and we have a lot of opportunity there, including outdoor leader skills that takes place over the course of the week. We have new leaders essentials, which will be offered on Fridays of each week. Safe swim defense and safety afloat and aquatic supervision will take place on Mondays. BSA lifeguard for leaders, those leaders will fall right in with the youth, and they will take that program over the course of the week. The training at the at the climbing tower is climbing instructor certification and then climb on safely. Those are the climbing instructor certification is an intense all-week training that those folks take part in. CPR is offered there for those individuals that want to take that. The adults get certification there from either the American Heart Association or the American Red Cross. I'm not sure which agency we'll use this year, probably American Heart Association. Okay? Hopefully that will help you.
All right. Just one more that came in. Let me throw it up there. I don't have it typed in. But are there computers available to scouts or leaders throughout the week at camp?
We'll have a computer usually in the administration building if a leader needs to come by and send out a message or do something briefly there on the computer. We usually have one available for that. The computers in the computer lab are not available as we offer those instruction sessions throughout the program day.
All right, fantastic. It looks like we've answered all the questions around here for now, so we'll let you move on to the registration packet.
Very good. If you've got your registration packet, this is kind of a neat little booklet. All the forms that are in here can be found at ravennob.com. If you're doing this on the computer, it's a great way to do that, and we appreciate any of the folks that can do that by way of the internet. It is a much more efficient effort than doing it by hand. But if you want to do it by hand, that's fine. We work with those every day. This booklet is set up, has a lot of the same information in the front of it that you have in the leader's guide. It talks, if you open the front cover, it will talk about how to make changes and how the book is laid out. It gives you the addresses. We would ask if you're going to send stuff in by mail, if you're going to do that this spring, that you send it in by May 31st, that be sent to the Scout office in Winston-Salem. After June 1st, we will have staff at Raven Knob. The office will be open, and we would ask that you send it directly to camp at that point. Our fax numbers for both are listed there, as well as the mailing addresses. The next page talks about registration, which we've already covered, and that follows through with the schedule changes and how to do that. On the next page, how check-in and paperwork will be processed. And then the next 2 pages are the program registration codes. At that point, I'd ask you to take your booklet, if you're using the booklet, and turn to the very last page. This booklet is made to be disassembled. In that, the last page is the one you'll need first. So you can pull that off. That's the unit count form. And as I noted a while ago, we've got 1,000 boys already that have been processed by way of the unit count form. So if you haven't done this on the internet, please do so, or fill out this form and send it to us, hopefully between now and April 1st or shortly thereafter. The form has on there the information from your troop, what week you're coming to camp, and what council you're with. Be sure and put the council name there. We do have several troops that have the same numbers, like a Troop 400 or a Troop 212, and we may have 3 Troop 212s coming to Raven Knob this summer. So be sure and put your council information in there too, please. That information that you send there, you would attach a check at the bottom if you're mailing that to us, and send that to us at the Scout office, and we'll get you processed in as quickly as we can. It is more efficient to do that online if you can. That also gets the information logged in with the accurate boy count. If you put that in and you tell us you're going to bring 12 boys, and then you find out that 4 other boys are bridging up from the pack that you didn't realize, once you enter in 12 and we've locked that in, you will not be able to go in and bump that up to 16 with those additional 4. What you will need to do is to send me an email. Send it to my email, kmbcrk7@aol.com, and then I will make that change if we have adequate space to make sure we get those boys included. The system is not set up for you to be able to change that, so I've got to be able to do that on my end. Also, you'll note on the unit count, it does not ask you to pay any fees for adult leaders. We're looking here just for the number of scouts that are coming to camp. Okay? Moving on, the RKSR2 section, there are 3 forms there. The first one is a special diet form. If you've got a scout that has a special diet, if he is allergic to peanuts, or he has celiac disease, or whatever allergy that may be, you need to fill out this form and send it to us so that we can be prepared in our dining hall to accommodate those boys the best we can. If they have special foods they'd like to bring with them, that's great too. They can store those in the dining hall in a refrigerated space or in a secure location. We do have a microwave oven available for them as well. Okay? But we will try to accommodate those boys over the course of the week that they are in camp. 2B is the session registration form. If you're sending this in by hand, you would take there and fill in the scout's name and the sessions that he'll take over the course of the week. Okay? And then 2A is going to be the final payment form that will be due by June 1st. That June 1st date is a deadline. It's not the byline. So try to get that to us sooner if you can so that we can be prepared for you. I realize for some of you coming later in the summer that may be a bit more of an issue, but if you can help us by June 1st, that would be just tremendous. And certainly if you're coming the first couple of weeks of camp, try to get that to us even sooner. You will have places on there to tell us how many leaders you'll be bringing and to accommodate the fees as necessary there for them. The next section is the 3 section, RKSR 3s. 3E is the insurance form where you can tell us what insurance your troop has. So listed there. Okay? His personal insurance will be on the medical form from the BSA that you will include there. Okay? Fill this out so we'll have that. A lot of troops are in councils that have the HSR insurance by way of the national office. That is a very helpful policy, and be sure and read through that. Make sure you understand how that policy works. Next up is 3D. That's the Outdoor Programs Parental Release. This is a general form for every boy, and we like to have that form filled out by the parents and attached to the medical form to be turned in when they do the medical checks at the program center. That covers aquatics, all the shooting sports, climbing, cycling, backpacking, any other activities that the boys do at camp. We want the parents to be fully aware of the activities that take place at Raven Knob that their sons may be involved in. Even though, for instance, they may not be signed up to do shotgun shooting, they may have a troop shoot that they would go up there and take their turns and fire out a few clays there on the shooting sports range. So make sure that that's signed by every parent, please, before they come to camp. All right, moving on then to 3C. 3C is a photo order form. We have a professional photographer in camp on Sunday afternoons, and he will have the opportunity there to get pictures of each troop, and the photos are $10 a piece. He'll have those produced and returned, and they will be in your checkout packet on Saturdays when you get ready to go home. 3B is the swim checks. This is an opportunity for you to do swim checks at home before you come to Raven Knob. That will greatly expedite your Sunday afternoon activities if you've had those squared away. Realizing that they may end up doing those swim checks in a pool, when they come to Raven Knob, they will be swimming in a lake. And some boys may not be so sure about that, so we'll make sure that they feel safe before we put them into a merit badge, and we'll have them do swim checks again as need be. But hopefully they can do these at home in the pool and be ready to go to camp there when they come up to see us at Raven Knob. The next form up is a unit roster. That's just basically for our safety needs. If you'd fill that in with the names of the leaders and of all the scouts that are coming to camp, how you've got them broken down into patrols, who that patrol leader is. We'd like to have their phone numbers there if necessary. If you can provide that, that would be most helpful to us. From that, you flip back over the next page or two there, and you're getting back to the program registration codes, which are the same as we reviewed in the back of the leader's guide. Okay, that should be pretty helpful to you. It's a fairly simple process once you start working with it. We have a great administrative team that has worked with this for years in honing down this process, and it's a process we've kind of homegrown for the past couple of decades to make sure that everybody has the right information, parents understand what is taking place at the camp, leaders are ready for it, and the boys get the adventure of a lifetime. Other questions, Evan? I don't hear Evan.
Can you hear me, Keith?
Yes, I hear you, Adam.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll speak. So we do have a question here. This one is from Mr. Cleesby. He says, how long does it typically take the council office to post physical registration check? So he mailed him his check to the council office. He says it's been about a week, but has not seen this appear online. So what is kind of the process time for that?
Sure. It's usually a week to 2 weeks before we get those processed and get them posted online. But we do have all those time dated, and so we still will honor that on a first come, first served basis. Even though it may not show up online immediately, we will still honor those on a first come, first served basis.
Fantastic. It looks like the next one we have here is, do I need a tour permit to come to Raven Knob? When do we need to turn those in, and do I need to print it, or can I just submit it online?
We would like for you to print it and bring it and turn it in to the administration building on Sunday afternoons. Go through those processes, and that's for every troop, be they an Old Hickory Council troop or an out-of-council troop. They need to fill out that tour permit, tour and activity plan, and have that with you when you come to camp, ready to submit. We'd like to have a hard copy of that to put in our records.
Fantastic. Let's see. That's a good one. How does camp get reports of my Scout's achievements to me? How do I know he'll get his merit badges?
As the scouts go through each session each day, we'll have an attendance roster, and our staff will check off on that roster what activities or what advancement portions they do over the course of a given day. At the end of the week, our staff will submit those back to our administration team. Those guys will take that information and compile a master report that will show that Tommy Tenderfoot in Troop 542 completed the following merit badges. He took first aid and got a complete. He took swimming and got a complete. He took citizenship in the nation, but still needs to do requirements 8 and 9. It'll be a master listing that you get that will show you what each boy did over the course of the week. We do not use blue cards as a general activity in the camp. If your council requires blue cards, please bring those with you, or we'll have some available for you in our office that you can come up and we'll help you fill those out for each of your scouts.
All right, let's see. The next one is the parental activity consent form required, and what do we submit those with?
The parental activity permission form is required for every scout, and they need to have those submitted on Sundays with their medical forms. They need to be attached to the back of the medical form, and our Health Lodge staff will review those and put those in each scout's file that we have there in the Health Lodge.
All right, let's see. Here's another one for you. Let's see. What do I do if I need to change my Scout's merit badge schedule? How do I handle that?
Our administrative team has drop ad forms that they'll have available at meals, and they also will have in the administration building. So just come by there, see one of our guys, and they'll take care of getting that process for you. It's very quick, very efficient, and they can tell you what sessions are open and what time frame and get the scout right into the session without delay.
Fantastic. Let's see. There's one. Let me see if it's there. As far as health forms go, does camp need an original, or does it need a copy of the health form, or both?
A copy is fine. We'd ask that you keep the original with you, the unit leader, and provide to us a copy of that health form. That is efficient and sufficient for our needs.
All right. Let's see. Ms. Pelfrey, if I need to cancel a Scout's registration for any reason, what is the procedure? I like that one.
If you will send an email to registration, or excuse me, to office@ravennob.com, our staff will take care of getting that process and adjusting the fees accordingly.
What is the process of getting a refund for a Scout if he has to drop?
If the scout has to drop, we will use, depending on what time he drops, what time frame, we'll adjust the fee accordingly. If he's a scout from outside the Old Hickory Council, we will issue a check back to the troop. If he is a scout from within the council, we would prefer to make a credit back to the troop's account at the Old Hickory Council office.
Let's see. Adam, did you have anything?
Just to let everyone know, the office@ravennob.com account is manned year-round by myself and Evan, so if you at any point have any sort of further questions, you can contact us through there. If I don't know the answer to it, I can find somebody who does have the answer to it, and so that's kind of what we're working with there. Also this summer, or rather this spring, we're looking to have the administration building open toward the latter half of May, so we can go ahead and hit the ground running there, so the office can be open so we can receive phone calls and emails from there as well. That's a little bit earlier than usual. That's because we have National Camp School at Raven Knob this summer, so we have to have some of our staff on board a little bit sooner. But if you need anything, the office@ravennob.com account is the best way to get in touch with us. Usually we get back in touch with you within 2 to 3 days, but a lot of times it's within 24 hours.
I think that's as far as I have with questions go at the moment. Keith, did you have something else?
I appreciate all you folks attending the session tonight. If you have questions, as Adam noted, just send them to us. We'll be glad to help you in any way we can. We want this to be a great adventure for your troop and your scouts. If there are specifics that we can assist with, if there are details we need to follow up on, just let us know, and we'll make this thing work for you and your boys to have a wonderful trip to Raven Knob Scout Reservation. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.